You know, there's nothing more frustrating in golf to me than hitting an awesome drive long and straight off the tee and then blowing the wedge shot. You've maybe just got a small shot in, a wedge of some kind, and you lose all your advantage that you got off the tee over your buddies or your competitors. So right after this, let's talk about how you're going to get your wedge shots closer to the hole to set up lots of more birdies and tap in pars, lower your scores, and of course beat your friends. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. I'm on a journey to hit it longer and straighter off the tee, but then back it up or follow it up with a really nice, precise wedge shot and make more birdies. If you're on the same journey as me, which I hope you are, then I hope you'll consider hitting the subscribe button, liking this video if you liked it, and leaving a comment down below. All right, so let's talk about a few simple ideas that if you were to incorporate a couple of them, I think you're going to be able to get the ball not only onto the green, but close to the hole more often, so that you can really drop your amount of putts and get some one putts going off of your wedge shots. Now, if you're only aspiring to be a long hitter, maybe watching my videos I hope have gotten you a little extra yardage, but maybe you're not quite a long hitter yet. In this case, your wedge shot might be to set up a par putt. You might have a 70, 80, 90 yard wedge shot on a really tough hole in 3 on a par 4. Rather than setting up the birdie, you're trying to set up the par putt. But still, these tips are going to work great for you. They're going to work great for anybody, because we really want to get these wedge shots dialed in. Okay, I've got my trusty water-filled hula hoop. This thing is great. I've had it for 6 or 8 years and none of the water has even leaked out. I can still hear it in there. So really cool. But just to show you kind of a crude depiction of a swing plane here. If you were to swing, let's say on this swing plane here, of course, see, you're not going to hit the ball at the bottom of the arc where this hula hoop is meeting the target line, but you're going to hit the ball back here somewhere on the downstrike. On a 56-degree sand wedge, I like a downstrike of about 5 degrees or so. So let's look at it from the face on. You might be able to see it better from this perspective. So we're not going to hit a sand wedge at the bottom of the arc. We're going to hit it more back here. You should have it more back in your stance. So let's move this forward like this. So now it's offset. So the low point, sure, the low point will be about 4 inches in front of the ball. But see, you're going to be catching this on the down like this. And see, in that case, let's move back to the down the line angle for this now. And I'm going to lay this down to shoe top level just to make it really, really obvious what I'm talking about here. You see, if I'm catching it back here 4 inches behind the ball, you can see that the target line is not met yet. I would be in the push part of my arc still. You see, if I make a divot right where I should, which is ahead of the ball, so the ball would be back here, the divot would be around another 4 or 5 inches. But you can see, I'm going to push this ball, or I'm going to have to somehow correct the face and flip it over and try to make a ball with a 100-yard shot hook. It's not a great idea. If you ever want to really get consistent with your wedges, playing any more than a couple of feet of curve is really going to dilute your consistency quite a bit. So let's pick this back up to a reasonable level again. And I just want you to see what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn the swing plane a few degrees. See, now, right where I'm striking the ball is more down the target line, but my divot is going to be to the left. So I really need to turn my swing plane and my stance and everything else, maybe 1.5 inches around to the left, if I'm going to make my club head come right down the target line straight at impact and therefore hit a straight ball. So watch as I hit this one. You're going to see how I'm going to modify my stance for a wedge. So this would be a square stance here. this would make me have to manipulate the club to get the pass straight. But instead, see, I'm going to open up my feet about 1 to 2 inches is fine. And I'm going to try to swing the club along that line, and that should even out the fact that I've got to take a down strike and a divot. Let's give it a shot. Hey, another common error I see in the average golfer, or even pretty good golfers, trying to hit wedge shots closer. A lot of golfers, I notice, they don't even hit their sand wedge or their lob wedge because they say, you know, hey, it goes straight up and straight down and it doesn't go anywhere. And sure enough, they can only hit it like 60 yards, even though I know they're taking a hard enough swing to hit it 80, 90, or even 100. But we just have too high of a launch angle and we're borrowing altitude and losing distance. So in that case, you've got a club that has no forward lean at the moment of impact like this. In the worst case, on a bad golfer, you might even have the club shaft leaning backwards an inch. You can see the difference. This club is set up to have about 4 or 5 inches of forward lean, and that's where it's supposed to be, to have the leading edge just in contact with the turf so it can dig a little bit. You still have the bounce in play, but you have a little bit of dig setting it like this. Now this is where 56 degrees is actually measured on this wedge. If you were to put it in a lie loft machine, you would see that. It would angle ahead like this. But notice if I put it back even with the hosel, that I'm now presenting more like 65 degrees of loft. So if I do make impact like that, yeah, the ball's going to pop up in the air really, really high and come down really short. So how are we going to get a consistent forward lean on the club? That way, if we swing the same speed, we'll hit the same trajectory and the same distance. For precision, we have to get left and right correct, but we also have to get forward and long, or long and short correct as well if we're going to hit it close to the cup. It's not like a tee shot where we have some leeway forward and back up and down the fairway, but we just want to keep it good left and right. But now we have to get both ends of the crosshairs good if we're going to really make a difference in our score. So how are we going to get this leaning forward? Well, number one idea that most people don't do, you don't even see a lot of guys on TV doing this, I would preset the forward lean. See, already I've got my feet left already, you see, but I've got the forward lean already. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a shot, and you're going to see all I've got to do now, I've got an advantage because all I have to do now is return to the 4 or 5 inch forward lean where I started. So it kind of feels like I'm returning to address. So I've got my feet about 1.5 inches open. There's the club leaning forward, and just return. Now, of course, you could set the club ahead 4 or 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches of forward lean and lose it all during the swing. So you still have to have some pretty decent fundamentals to your swing to return back to that 4 or 5 inch forward lean. The number one key would be that you have enough shift and turn prior to impact. You can't hang back and not turn. You will tend to lose your angle too quick, bottom out too soon, present too much loft to the ball, and you might hit it straight, but you're going to come up way short of the green. Missing the green altogether after a good drive would be really frustrating. So I recommend practicing at home. You can have the wall behind you or a chair. Take it to about here and just practice shifting and turning. Shifting and turning. Just turn the chest free as you shift over onto your left heel. That move needs to come first before the club head is thrown at the ball. In that case, if you're sequencing everything right, you're going to arrive back at this impact position again, and you're going to get a nice forward divot, a clean strike, and the correct trajectory. All right, following those two ideas, I think you're ready to move into the master class of wedge play. And that is, we're going to talk about tempo, we're going to talk about being compact, and we're going to talk about the consistency of the strike at the bottom. So when it comes to tempo, I really want to follow kind of a slower 3 count. I like to call it a waltz count. So I might go, like if the conductor is getting ready, I might go and give a little forward press. Then I will go 1, 2, 3 to the top, and then 1 at the ball, 2, 3. So the whole thing would be and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So nothing rushed about it at all. We're no longer trying to hit for power, so we can really bring the tempo down to a slower 3 to 1 count. 3 beats to the top, 1 beat to the ball, and then 2, 3 in the follow through. So let me see if I can walk you through a shot or talk you through a shot. Waggle, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What that's going to do for you is really have the effect of getting everything timed together at the bottom to hit it square, and really will go a long way towards controlling your distance, because you're not going to hit it close to the cup unless you're really hitting the sweet spot consistently. Tempo is a great way of getting tuned to the sweet spot and getting your club speed the exact right level for you to hit that wedge shot in front of you, whatever distance it might be. Okay, kind of a second idea when it comes to the kind of the master class of getting wedge shots close or being consistent with them anyway. You're gonna have to practice a lot of wedges if you're gonna get them, you know, close to the hole every now and then. If I know for a lot of you, just being able to wedge it onto the green consistently to where you can 2-putt and maybe make a par or even just a bogey would be a huge improvement. Let's talk about the next idea, which is staying compact. Staying compact. So I see a lot of people, they swing really big with the wedge, and then they kind of gear back down again, lose all the angle. So something like that. So I took a big swing and it actually went not that far because I kind of let off the gas pedal at the end. So I'd rather see you go kind of the idea of going short to long. And we'll talk about the third idea in a second, but what short to long would look like, or more compact with a bigger follow through, would look something more like this. So I'm going to hit the same distance shot, about 100, 105 yards, but I'm going to do it with about half the backswing I just took. So I was able to get that last shot 3 or 4 yards farther than the full swing shot. And it goes to the last principle we'll talk about today, which is number 1, having a feel of consistent strike with every wedge shot you hit or every short iron that you hit. The feeling going through the ball should be the same level of effort and speed every time. So you've got different tools for the job, so if you need to change the yardage, you'll just change the tool, but keep that feeling of impact consistent, precisely the same speed and effort going through the ground every single time. So if I were to talk about that in tempo, I'm going to put a little bit of a crescendo on the second one. So it would be something like, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So my 3 will only be to about here, but I'm going to really put a crescendo on the 1, and I'm going to put a little bit stronger move going through. So I'm going to have what feels like kind of a compact but accelerating swing, kind of again like a putting stroke. You might accelerate through it, short to long sensation, but still in the rhythm. Let me see if I can do that. Short to long with a little acceleration. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, I was able to hit that within 5 or 6 feet of the cup that time. Hey, thanks a lot for watching. I hope some of these tips, if you just incorporate them maybe 1 or 2 at a time in your swing, I hope they'll help you improve your wedge play and knock a couple shots off your scores, drive your buddies nuts. If that happens and that's the case, I hope you come back to the video and leave a comment down below and tell us about the experience that got you to that improvement. Hey, thanks again to Golf Development Complex in Moore Park, California for hosting us today. Paul and Diane are the best. Come on out and they will take good care of you. And as always, if I don't see you in the next video, although I hope I see you in the next video, I also hope I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take care.